To be or not to be, that is the question.
April 1616, Stratford-upon-Avon, England. The great writer William Shakespeare dies and leaves behind a last will and testament. While the will has provoked more than its fair share of controversy, the story of the will itself is full of twists and turns, and even a few typos. William Shakespeare. Believe it or not, the world knows hardly anything about him. Who was he? How did he live? Who were his friends and family? A lot of what we know comes from the will. Some scholars even wonder whether the great plays attributed to William Shakespeare came from one man living in Stratford-upon-Avon or someone entirely different. However, despite these contradicting views, the majority of experts believe that there was indeed a writer named William Shakespeare who lived in Stratford-upon-Avon, and that he left behind this will, which reveals fascinating insights into the man who created it, starting right at the top. The will of this will had difficulty in spelling his own name. On 2 of the 3 pages, he signs his name differently. Great irony for a great writer. That's just the first mistake in this messy little legend. It's full of cross-outs and, on second thought, insertions. Plus, the sheets of paper don't match. Is this the style of genius? Perhaps. What is certain is that the solicitor who drafted the will, one Francis Collins, never got around to writing a clean final version. Then there's the issue of inheritors. It is commonly believed that William Shakespeare had no surviving sons, only 2 daughters and a wife. It seems that one of his daughters had married badly to a known womanizer. So with a few quick scribbles, Shakespeare slashed the inheritance of the daughter and the wayward son-in-law. With one daughter disgraced, his other daughter cleaned up.
I give unto my daughter Susanna Hall the new place wherein I now dwell, and all my hereditaments whatsoever.
But what about the missus? Anne Hathaway was 8 years Shakespeare's senior and pregnant at the time of marriage. Perhaps there's evidence of a bitter taste in such a match.
Who wooed in haste and means to wed at leisure. I told you, he was a frantic fool.
Interestingly, the wife in this will is practically an afterthought, mentioned only once, squeezed in between 2 lines on the 3rd page in the most memorable line of the will.
I give unto my wife my second best bed with the furniture.
Beds were prized possessions at the time, but really.
It's not unreasonable to assume that the second best bed was in fact Shakespeare and Anne's marriage bed, and that, if you want a romantic slant to it, is why he left it to her.
Anne would have received her legal share of Will's estate, but custom would have dictated at least the expression of some drop of affection for a beloved wife or a sweet bride. Could the man responsible for some of the most passionate love sonnets have been denied such a love in his own life?
Some people speculate that he was far too bright and he left her behind.
In 1616, at the age of 52, the will's author died. The nature of his final illness, unknown.
Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Certainly, this man's death didn't signify much. There is no record of his passing, no public notices, no funeral, no eulogy. He was buried in Stratford's Holy Trinity Church. Quiet passage for the supposed toast of the London Theatre.
So there's my riddle. One that's dead is quick. And now behold the meaning. All's well that ends well.
Upon the death of Shakespeare, the will itself passed into probate with his daughter Susanna's husband as executor. The ecclesiastical court of the Archbishop of Canterbury held on to it until 1858. It then passed into municipal public record. So William Shakespeare from Stratford-upon-Avon leaves us with one last tale of mystery. The last will and testament of a man named William Shakespeare is held by the Public Records Office in London, England.